I met when we both worked at ADP. Our kids were young. For a while, David was my boss. Then he wasn't. He and Carol and the family ended up moving to California for a while. I continued working here, and then David started working back in Ann Arbor. And in the meantime, my marriage with Martin kind of fell apart a little bit. And so Megan and I ended up alone. And the same thing happened to David and Carol and his family. They got divorced. He ended up alone.
One day I was having my hair cut, and my barber said to me, "You should go take a look at this piece of property out on Merlin Way." Because he had just bought a piece of property on Merlin Way because he was planning on building a house. So I came out, walked around, and got a brochure. The price was right, the location was right, and so I bought it.
And then all of a sudden, I guess our friendship began to deepen a little bit. But pretty soon David said he had an interest in building a house. I thought he was going to build a bachelor pad. I didn't know I had any part in it. Some time passed, and then David came to me and he said, "I'm meeting with an architect. Would you like to come along?" And again, I thought David was building a house for himself or whoever was going to be in his life. And I didn't know it was going to be me. And then suddenly at some point, I realized this wasn't a house for David. It was a house for the both of us. And it was kind of an epiphany. That was fun. That was really when I got excited about having a decision and being able to play into this and be a part of it. I've been through some health issues, and because of that, I'm very concerned about how I'm going to be able to live in the future. I've had breast cancer, I've had a kidney transplant, thanks to my son-in-law, and I'm feeling very healthy right now. But when we started this process, I wasn't feeling very healthy, and I felt very fragile. And in the back of my mind, I always was aware of my mortality. I wanted to be in a place where I felt very secure and safe. We talked about buying a little condo in the Methodist Homes program, one of those little cottages like in Dexter or in Chelsea, where it would be a small space, we would have help if we needed it, and we would have access to health care if we ever needed it. But that doesn't really fit with our lifestyle. We really like to be independent, and we like to be not surrounded by other people close together. And at one point, we were sitting in the summertime, and Megan, my daughter, came to me, and she said, "You know, I can never imagine not being at this house at Too Much to Mow." Cooper, our son, has grown up here. Every major event in his life has been here. And if you guys move to somewhere else, this won't be a part of our lives anymore. And I can't fathom that. And so later that evening, David and I were talking, and we were thinking, now how can we change this story a little bit? And we decided, since we already own property on both sides of this house, why don't we just build a new house? And maybe Megan and Nathan and Cooper and Martin would be willing to move in here.
So really, I think we want another house to make it more convenient for our lifestyle and to age in place. Or as our architect likes to call it, a house for the journey.
So we decided to make it happen. When we started thinking about what architect we would use, I kept coming back to this kind of quirky guy that we had met at several different open houses we'd been to.
Welcome to the world headquarters of Architectural Resource. And let me say hi to this woman. How are you? Merry Christmas.
Same to you.
This is a great way to start Christmas, isn't
Yes,
it?
it is.
I know.
His name is Michael Clement. We met him, or we went to one of his houses. I think his house was on a Showcase of Homes tour. And so we spent some time going through the house, kind of liked it. There were some real nice features.
Seemed to be a really nice guy. We've seen him over and over throughout the years. But again, we weren't thinking of building a home.
So today, what we're going to do is go through these drawings. There's nothing here that's going to be a surprise because you've seen it as you've worked with us through the design development process.
He's very interested in building green homes, homes that are energy efficient. And Michael appeared to be somebody that was up to the task and wanted to build a very green home.
When we're looking at a high-performance home, we think about energy loss, not just through the roof and the walls, but also through the slab.
We want to do everything we can to help the environment. So that's where Michael came in.
All right, well, let's jump in.
Okay. Well, working with this architectural team, one of the things that they've done is, as part of their design process, they've created a virtual walkthrough, which allows us to put an app on our iPhone.
And you can basically walk through, really just walk through the house. And you can see some things that you couldn't see on paper.
And one of the neat things about this was I was walking in my sewing room one day virtually, and I realized that there is not an awful lot of wall space in my sewing room, and I wanted more wall space. And so the next meeting we had with the architectural team, we asked if they could convert one wall that was currently full-length windows into transom windows on the top and wall space below.
He asked Al Sandy how she figured out that she didn't want those windows. And she said, well, I walked into the room and looked around and realized that it wasn't going to work.
And he said, that's great. I just love to hear when our clients do that, because that means you're really experiencing what the home is going to feel like when you live in it. After we had picked Michael as our architect and they went through our design criteria and all of our wish list items, finally it came to a point where he said, look, if we're really going to build this house, and it sounds like we are, we need to engage a builder. Michael gave us a list of 3 builders. We had never heard of any of them before, and he asked us to interview these 3 builders.
So contacted all 3 of the builders. 2 of them came to our place to talk to us. But Mike and his wife had us come to their place of business.
For some reason, Michael just kind of fit with us. It seemed like we meshed. It was all because of what he said and how he reacted to us and how we felt that he could work with us during this process, because it is a team. And we're going to be a team along with Michael and his crew to make sure this is what we want it to be.
So what's your recipe for chili?
Hamburger, beans, tomatoes, onion, cumin, chili powder. You need to know how much? The house is definitely unique for certainly this neighborhood and possibly for much of the county. It's going to be slab on grade with no basement, heated concrete floor. The roof is either flat roof or shed roof, so there's some interesting designs, interesting angles there.
For one thing, our new house is going to be an aging in place house. So it will be built slab on grade, so there will be no steps to get in. will be easily able to get into the home and move through the home, including our bathroom and bedrooms, without assistance.
So there's a lot of neat designs with the windows, the roof angles. I recall seeing these houses when I was a kid down the shore in New Jersey.
One feature of the new house that I'm really excited about is my sewing studio. It's going to be a big room on the main floor, and so I'm really looking forward to having a little spot where I can go and work on my projects and still feel like I'm part of the family.
This is the ultimate design. We've got a ground floor master, we've got a very accessible great room living area, all the hobby and work areas attached to the main floor off this side, and this indoor pool, which is really going to provide them with year-round activity in terms of really healthy fitness. I think they really hit the ball out of the park with the design on this one.
Originally, our architect, Michael, was planning on doing a passive home. Passive home has no furnace, has no air conditioning, and you get all of your heat from the sun. So that means in the wintertime, you have to have a lot of southern exposure to heat the house. And one reason we could do that is because we plan to have, as I said, a slab-on-grade concrete floors. We were just going to use the heat from the sun. And Alisandi expressed several times, concern that the north side of the house, the floors, would never get as warm, obviously, as the south side, because there was no direct sun. So she was concerned that her feet would be cold, or our feet would be cold on the floor.
And so finally one day Michael came to us and he said, you know, I don't think a passive home is right for you guys. I think we need to think about in-floor radiant heat that's always warm. And Michael used a term, he said, you are gonna be like butter. He said, you're gonna step on that floor and you're just gonna melt right into it. And to me, that sounded like exactly what I wanted in a new home. I don't want to be uncomfortable. I want to be warm, and for me, it starts from the feet up.
And this becomes the radiant surface on the second floor.
We asked Michael if we could see a house, or feel a house, basically, that had this same type of flooring. And he happened to know a fella, his name is Claire Racine, who is actually one of his contractors that does the heating and air conditioning installations.
Well, we took a little trip to the home of the fellow that's going to be doing our mechanical systems. He just built his home. It's close to us, a few miles from us. And he has two things that we were really interested in. One is in-floor radiant heat. The other is polished concrete floors.
It was very nice. We walked into his house and he didn't have any shoes on. His wife was barefoot. And this was in early January, I think it was. And it was a cold day. And his wife was walking around barefoot. He was without shoes. And we could feel that the floor was definitely warm.
But we poured the floor before we did anything. And then we built the house up. So we polished it probably in June.
So the visit to Claire's house was great. This was the first time I had seen his new house. I'd heard about it, so I was pretty excited about checking it out. And he had a mechanical room that, you know, for us building geeks, it was dreamy. So it was really cool to be able to go and see what he had done.
Moving more water and using more energy than he needed to accomplish a comfortable house.
He had a geothermal heating and cooling system that also heated the water that they used for the in-floor radiant heat. So his whole first floor was concrete, and they basically took the byproduct of the geothermal, which is hot water, and pumped that hot water through the floors to establish a source of free heat for the house.
And we went into his man cave, which has both the polished concrete floors as well as the radiant heat, and my feet were very, very comfortable. I took off my shoes at the door and I walked in my stocking feet, and I was comfortable the whole time. I didn't notice any discomfort at all.
The in-floor heating is what we call radiant heat. And radiant heat heats the objects in the home, where the forced air only really heats the air in the home.
What is this set to, the air temperature?
It's set at 70.
Oh, right there.
It's been at 68 and turned it up the other day because somebody was chilly, I guess.
We're excited to bring this into their project because we're bringing together a lot of different elements of energy efficiency.
So I think we've made a really good decision, and I'm very grateful that he allowed us to come and look at his home and actually feel what it feels like.
We're pretty excited about that because I think they're going to be very comfortable in this house. We're getting lots of pictures. You know, one of the reasons why today was so exciting is because in a slab on grade project, you know, you really only get one chance to pour the concrete. In most building scenarios, the house has got a basement, it's got an attic. We had a few challenges in this project because we had to run all of our electrical, all of our plumbing, most of our mechanical under the slab. So how do we do that? You know, that's weeks and weeks and weeks of work that led up to today. So really, for us, all of the work we put in prior to today is the payoff. We had to start off with that 18-inch layer of stone. Then we set all of our perimeter foam for the forms for the foundation. So there was a lot going on underneath. Then we got to our second layer of foam. So now we've built up 8 inches inside the cavity. And once we got inspected and everything was in place, we then started stapling down our hydronic hot water tubing for the geothermal in-floor hot water system that's going to heat the house. So we have, I believe, 8 manifolds set up throughout the entire house. We were right around 3/4 of a mile of tubing, around 4,000 feet. So once that tubing was all stapled down and inspected, then we went to the steel reinforcement, the rebar. So we have 2 layers of 1/2-inch rebar spaced every 16 inches on a grid. So today was a very exciting day. It was a day we've been planning for a little over a year. And ever since we got to the site, everything that we've done up to this point led us to today, which was the concrete pouring of the slab. After measuring, double checking, triple checking, making sure we had all of our drains, shower drains, toilet drains, electrical conduit, all the essentials plugged in where they need to be. The weather and the stars aligned perfectly for what was an absolutely ideal day for pouring concrete. We managed to pour close to 90 yards. At the end of the day, around 3 o'clock, we were done just before the rain hit, and we couldn't ask for a better day.
Well, basically we've got pretty much all the house exteriors up and done, except for the pool. We gotta wait for the pool to come in. We're working on the exterior, or the interiors now. We'll get the interiors done, then we're gonna move into the garage. We'll get the garage exteriors up, and hopefully midweek we'll be ready for the second floor trusses. Floors are a little out of level. So we've got to battle it. I mean, it's not horrendous. It is what it is. It's as good as a concrete guy can get it. I mean, those guys, we can get our stuff pretty exact. They can't. They can't.
You could use this as an insert.
You could. Yeah. I have it. Except that's probably a little brittle.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably a little brittle. So yeah, hopefully by midweek, end of week, I know we'll be ready for trusses. Because there's some second floor stuff we can get up yet too. Some of the walls they kind of wanted us to get up so we can set all the roof at one time. And that's I don't know how well that's going to work. I mean, I know we're going to have the crane here more than one day. So
It's pitched here, which is where it's supposed to be.
Could watch TV if I wanted to. I could look outside. It's awesome.
I'm a little surprised that he doesn't have these changes.
Nice view.
We're getting her. We're getting her.
Every day we see progress.
Yeah, we get questions answered and go.
You know, another thing that's really important in design, building and design, is function. The homes we're living in today are oftentimes a product of the early century design and needs of American families going back to the 30s and 40s. One of the things that came up in the design process was shelter during tornado. The safe room is a tornado shelter inside the home. So basically what we'll be doing is building a concrete structure inside the home and converting that into the walk-in closet, if you will. And in the event of a tornado, they have a safe place, a shelter to go to because they have no basement. So in terms of style, you know, creating that functionality for our customers, where they can actually live the way that they want to live. Once they realize that that's what design and building is, you know, our customers get really excited that, you know, they're going to be able to actually make changes in their home or make changes to the design that they're looking at, design a home that actually fits the way that they live.
Congratulations to you.
Oh, thank you. Hi.
How you doing?
Oh, we are so excited to be here.
Oh, we're excited to have you here.
My name is Michael Clement. I'm the principal of Architectural Resource, and I had the distinct honor of working with Susan on this project and leading it through the design from the initial conception through the development of the design and to the completion of construction documents.
And we're here to celebrate.
Yay.
Can't believe it.
Take your coats off.
All right.
Well, one of the things that we love about David and Alessandre is their love for nature and for their surroundings and for the site that this home is now on.
It feels incredibly comfortable. When I walk in the front door, I feel like I'm home. And I felt like I was home even before we had furniture. And I think we're going to just thoroughly enjoy living the rest of our time here. Welcome to our home.
Oh, guys, this is so wonderful. It's very warm and cozy and very modern.
It is, isn't it?
Wow.
Alessandre shared later on as we were having our tour together, it feels like they've always been here. That indicates to us that not only did we do our job, but they did their job in conveying to us what really home felt like. So Susan and I could wrap form around that vision. So we're thrilled. It's a centering, but it's also a celebration. I mean, this is, and we knew, Susan and I were looking at project goals and having walls and space for artwork and display. Well, the house itself is artwork. And this is a piece of artwork inside the center of the house. And it's the focal point of the whole social space. This house is asking our builders and our suppliers to move into the next generation of thinking about construction. This house is being built with the future in mind, not only in terms of its energy performance, but just in terms of the very nature of how it's being constructed, and really using building science to a great extent to understand the dynamics of how a high-performance building is going to be working. So this house was replete with challenges. But as Susan had said, these challenges led to opportunities, and the result is amazing.
So what are the things that the client wishes for, dreams about, and that all of these can come together, and within that we can still have an expression that is very much a reflection of David and Alessandre. It's been very exciting to be a part of the process.
This is the safe room.
Come a long way from there. And what's neat about it is you would have no idea that this is a safe room.
Right.
10 steps from your bed, and you guys are protected against anything that nature might throw at you.
Exactly.
It's going to be very nice living here. Our daughter and son-in-law will be living next door with our grandson, and that I think is going to be really nice, being able to have them next door. I think our grandson will enjoy a bit of respite from his parents now and then. So he's already told us that when he gets mad at his parents, he's coming to see us. So we'll need to keep the door open for that. But no, that'll be fun, living next door to our kids.
Oh my gosh.
It's amazing. Wow.
Oh, you guys, this is outstanding. And it's right off your bedroom, just off your living room. So we have to ask, do the grandkids play?
Oh, yes. And I have to tell them that they can have as much fun as they want, but please try not to get any water on the ceiling. Because Nathan came in once and it was a little bit wet.
And what's neat about this is, as we always say, the home is the platform from which you stage your life. And you've created this incredible platform to stage the balance of the journey.
Right.
We couldn't be more happy for you guys.
And it is just the best feeling to get up first thing in the morning, to watch the sun come up over the horizon, to see the birds waking up and flying around, to watch the cat come and go. to watch the day begin.
But yes, it was definitely worth it. Every penny, every penny and every bit of effort was worth it.
I'm finding new little things every day.
They could have built just a standard home with regular amenities, a code minimum. But they chose to advance the conversation. They didn't have to build a LEED Platinum home. They chose to do that. Not only because they wanted to live in a house that was resilient, walk softly on the land, but they're also acting as harbingers, as pioneers, leading others to show people what is possible. So for us, it's just a joy, an honor, and a privilege to have been a part of this, and we can't wait to see the life they're going to live in this house.
I think there are going to be a lot of moments where there are a lot of cosmos and a lot of epiphanies about we're in this is it, and isn't it wonderful? Because our kids are going to be next door, we're going to be a family unit that is together, we're going to be able to help one another. That's the part that's most fun for me to anticipate, is having our family right next to us. The idea of having them right next door and being able to say, hey, you know, we're having this for dinner. What are you guys having? Let's combine it. Let's be together.
And there's the dog.
Nora.
Touchdown. Grand slam. Yeah, that's good stuff.